Hotep fam, namaste. I behold the divinity that is in you. I see the Christ that is you. I see you. Welcome to the Daily Source of Life Morning Inspiration Call. My name is Stanley Yorker, aka Minister Imhotep, the one who comes in peace, co-spiritual director at In Spirit Truth Center, where we share an urban, inspirational, metaphysical message of truth that touches people, provokes thought, and transforms lives. That's ultimately what we're here for, life transformation, to make things a little bit better for ourselves. And with that, we use our power of imagination to be able to imagine more and better. And we're beginning to wrap up this month of imagination, knowing that the spiritual faculty is centered around our third eye, that vision that allows us to see what can be, see possibility, see what isn't there just yet, using faith to bring it into fruition. Our scripture for this morning is Daniel, the first chapter, the first through 17th verses, and I'm reading from the Modern English Version. In the third year of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem and besieged it. The Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand with part of the vessels of the house of God. He carried them into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God, and he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God. The king spoke to Ashpenaz, the master of his officials, that he should bring some of the sons of Israel, some of the king's descendants, and some of the nobles, youth in whom was no blemish, who were handsome and skillful in every branch of wisdom and gifted with understanding and discerning knowledge, as such had ability in them to serve the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and language of the Chaldeans. The king appointed them a daily provision of the king's food and wine, which he drank. They were to be educated for 3 years, that at the end of it they might serve before the king. Now among them were the sons of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, to whom the commander of the officials gave names. And he gave to Daniel the name of Belteshazzar, to Hananiah Shadrach, to Mishael Meshach, and to Azariah Abednego. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's food, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested to the master of the officials that now God has brought Daniel into the favor and compassion with the master of the officials. The master of the officials said to Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who has appointed your food and your drink, for why should he see your faces worse looking than the youth who are your age? Then you would endanger my head before the king. Then Daniel said to the steward, to whom the master of the officials had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, please test your servants for 10 days, and let them give us vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then let our countenances be looked upon before you, in the countenance of the youth who eat the portion of the king's food, and as you see, deal with your servants. So he consented to them in this matter and tested them for 10 days. At the end of the 10 days, their countenances appeared fairer and fatter than all the youths who ate the portion of the king's food. Thus the guard continued to take away the portion of their food and wine that they were to drink, and gave them vegetables. As for these 4 youths, God gave them knowledge and skill in every branch of learning and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all kinds of visions and dreams. We all know that we have to feed our body, we feed our mind, we feed our spirit, but sometimes we don't see that there's actually a connection, there's an interaction between all three. And we have to feed them with good things that we listen to, that we read, that we bring into our conscious and our subconscious. We have to feed that conscientiously. But we also have to maintain a regimen and conscientiousness and intention about what we feed our bodies, what we consume, what we eat. We see that The king had selected these 4 youth from Israel because they, I guess, biologically they were gifted. They DNA they were gifted. They look good. They look fair. They look robust, and all these things. And were going to be given the best of the best for 3 years to groom them to be able to serve the king. But Daniel, being wise beyond his years, knew that it's not just what the rich food that you guys consume that make you richness. In fact, make you worthy or royal. In fact, it's to your detriment that you consume these things. We know that the disease called gout, which affects the joints, it's often called the rich man's disease because it comes from consuming an abundance of fatty foods. And so that's what we can assume that the king wanted to present to these young men whom he was grooming, the best of the best that he ate, the finest meats and the wines and so forth. But Daniel knew that those things can take a toll on your body also. And if they take a toll on the body, we are holistic beings. They're going to take a toll on everything else. And so what we want to do is we want to feed our imaginations. The result of what Daniel presented, his proposal to the steward, was that they take away the king's portion, take away all the fatty meat, take away all the carbs and everything else, and give us vegetables and clean water to drink, whole foods. Let us deal with that and let's see what happens. Let's have a test. Let's show and tell. And that's what they did for 10 days. And at the end of those 10 days of consuming good, whole, fresh fruits and vegetables and water, they were able to see the difference in their countenance, their appearance. Probably their skin would look cleaner and less blemished. They were leaner. They were healthier. When they say fatter, not necessarily mean that they were, obese, that they had extra adipose tissue, but that was a way of saying that they looked healthier, more robust. And so that's what we need to consider ourselves as metaphysicians, as true students, not just to deal with the reading the scriptures and so forth, but also know that the body is intimately connected as well. We are a holistic unit. And although we're not just the flesh, we know we're spiritual beings having a human experience in this incarnation, we still have to feed the flesh those things that will promote good health, wellness, and mental acuity. And that's what, as a result of Daniel's diet, or live it, as Professor Gruff might say, what he was actually doing was feeding his imagination as well, so that he was able to interpret dreams, to have visions, to have clarity of thought, to have those images of the mind clear, so that the scissors of the mind could clip them out, and that he would be able to interpret not only what was happening in his life, but what's happening around him as well. The same for those other 3, and we know their story, how they went on to face their trials in the what we call the fiery furnace. Shadrach, Meshach, and as some preacher I once heard say, a bad Negro. So we know that they were bad, that they were black, that they were of African descent, that they knew the connection. And just as Sis experienced there in the Caribbean, like the Rastas down there, they know that the Ital diet, feeding good food, fresh foods from the earth, and getting out into the water, into the sea, all those things, all those natural elements help to sustain, nourish, and recharge us as well. So we can't lose sight of that. Even though we're in city environments, most of us, some of us may even be in what they call food deserts, we have to be conscious about what we intake and put in within ourselves. Now, again, I'm not going to say that I'm pristine and having a vegetarian diet or any of those things, but I encourage us to consume more of it and just to be more cognizant of what it is that we eat, so that we can indeed feed our body, our mind, our soul, our spirit, and ultimately we're also feeding our imagination. That's what I encourage you this morning as you go out on this Saturday. Increase your intake of those wonderful, wholesome, good things, the whole foods that sustain us. Not just the additives, those things that are full of additives and everything else. I may not agree with RFK on a whole lot of things, But I do agree that our food should be cleaner. But hey, Michelle Obama said that too, but she got criticized for it. But anyway, in Spirit family, let's go within and be conscious of what we take in. Mother and Father God, we're thankful for the daily source of light. Thankful for this opportunity to convene and to come together. Thankful for each and every individual that's represented on this line. Thankful for each household, each community, each orbit that circles around each of these individuals. We're thankful for those who called in. Thankful for those who may have liked to call in. Thankful for those who don't even know to call in yet, but at some point in the future they will. And that at that point we will touch them in some way. We're thankful. We send out love and light and healing and health to each individual that's on this line. We know that life is a precious thing, and we want to do all that we can, not only to prolong it, but to enhance it, so that that prosperity, that abundance that we enjoy also includes the abundance of health and vitality, so that we can live these years, even as we age and move on, that we can live them with robustness, mobility, flexibility, vitality, agility, mental acuity, and all those things that we need as well. We're thankful for that possibility, and we say, and so it is. In Spirit family, our daily source of light affirmation for this morning is, I feed my body, mind, spirit, and imagination. Together, I feed my body, mind, spirit, and imagination. Again, I feed my body, mind, spirit, and imagination. And one last time, I feed my body, mind, spirit, and imagination. That's what we want. We're holistic. When we say we're holistic in our ministry, that means we're all inclusive. We don't leave out any element or aspect of it, because we are holistic individuals. We are. There's no separation. That's what modern medicine has gotten wrong, that they see each system as separate. Cardiologists only deal with the heart, and internists deal with the internal organs, or usually it's the digestive and so forth. And it's all divided and compartmentalized, but we are a whole. The heart, the stomach, the digestive systems, the bowels, they all have part of the unity, the integration. And that's what that integrative medicine talks about. It's all a part of the one, just as we are a part of the one of that universal spirit, that universal body, that universal mind, that universal heart, and that universal soul. Just as our individual cells have souls, we are part of that collective as well. We're part of the body, and we have to take responsibility for its maintenance, upkeep, and regeneration. And we do that by continually remembering and reminding ourselves that the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Wherever I am, God is. Wherever you are, God is. Thanks, God, in me, through me, as me, around me, through the Christ within. And so it is. And Spirit family, go out and have a wonderful day. Peace and abundant blessings. Yes, sir, Minister. Yes, sir, Minister.
Yeah, I want to say one thing. I want to say a couple things. First of all, happy birthborn day to my lady love, Tammy Hammy. She's on the line.
What's up, Tammy Hammy from AC?
And also today, if you're in Atlanta, don't forget we have the 11th annual International Hip Hop Conference down at the Arbor Avenue Research Library. So come through.
Hip hoppers, come through. All right. You got that. You got that public service announcement from the minister himself, Minister Service, serving it up. So take that in consideration as you go about mapping out and planning your day. Love you all. Peace, power, and prosperity. Abundant blessings. Minister Imhotep, and I am out.